Hi, this is Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com, and you're watching Expanding Your Skill Beyond Technology. This is a replay from the Cincinnati VMUG that was held on November 12th. I did this presentation at the request of that local VMUG, and I thought it'd be a great idea to share that with the folks who weren't able to attend directly. Just to give a recap of who I am, if you haven't met me before, I'm the CTO Advisor on the Twitters. I'm the founder of the CTO Advisor, which is something I do on the side every now and again. Let's start this off by an introduction from my career. I've been in IT since the mid-90s, so that means that one of my very first certifications was NetWare 4.1. Most recently, I've spent the past few years in more of an architect type of role, beginning 2 years as an architect for a program at Lockheed Martin, where I learned how to properly use system engineering methodologies to manage IT infrastructures. I moved over to PwC as a consultant, where I picked up a good bulk of my business skill. Between Lockheed Martin and PwC, I got a chance to do some incredibly interesting projects, ranging from helping customers with their PCI compliance to helping Fortune 50 software companies define their data center strategy globally. I most recently helped Abbott and AbbVie split into two Fortune 200 companies. So if you're thinking of kind of what needs to happen with an IT data center when you break off from a huge company into two smaller but still huge companies, the standing up of a new IT staff, the moving of a really large SAP infrastructure, that's what I help those guys with. And that's what the skill I picked up at PwC. Currently, I am the senior SAP architect at AbbVie. I moved on from PwC. I got a little burnt out from management consulting full time. It was a great opportunity, picked up a lot of technical and plus business skill, and I'm now leveraging those skills at V full time. So let's talk about the challenge. The consolidation of silos brought by convergence, I think, is evident. Brian Gracely of Wikibon wrote a post, I think it's going on a little bit over a year now, over on Tech Target, talking about the impact of the convergence of silos on the data center engineer and what skills that data center engineer has to pick up. So from a practical perspective, data center engineers have been accustomed to collapsing silos and this whole software eating the world and becoming more exposed to technologies outside of their similar domain. Network administrators are becoming more familiar with virtualization. Server administrators are becoming more familiar with storage. That consolidation continues to happen. And because of that, end user organizations are starting to scale back on the size of their IT workflows. That has a direct impact on most of us watching this video. Outsourcing is still very much a big thing. Companies are starting implementations of where they're outsourcing non-critical functions. This can include anywhere from IT to HR, etc., etc. The data center is no exception. And I think we're seeing this in the larger industry with the Dell and EMC merger. I think before we could say, you know what, the data center's collapsing, cloud is starting to become a much more prevalent solution in a data center, but we can still go and, find jobs at those cloud providers. And now we're starting to see even those cloud providers are starting to collapse and that market is starting to merge. Look no further than HP exiting the public cloud space. So that's the challenge. How do we continue to offer value in an industry that seems to be collapsing upon itself? I don't think this is much different than what we faced in the server virtualization move when we started to do much more with less. Now we can manage a couple of hundred, more than a couple of hundred. We can manage 1,500 to 2,000 servers per administrator based on the automation tools that we have. We had to move higher up the stack before, and this is no different. We have to move higher up the stack. The stack just becomes the business stack versus the technology stack. Most of you guys who follow me on the Twitters are aware that a year ago, I undertook a very public job search. And one of the things that I learned from my job search is that businesses really liked the combination of my business skill and my technical background. They deeply desired that skill. VARs, big name IT vendors, are starting to get into consulting. Consulting is kind of the savior for some of these industries. And because I had a management consulting background, the skill set was highly desirable by a lot of the vendors. However, what I learned was that I dialed the knob a little bit too far to the right or too deep into the business skill arena, and my technical skills weren't sharp enough for these large IT vendors. So what that taught me, or the hard lesson that I learned from that, was that if you want to continue down a technical route, you need to make sure that you keep your technical skills up. You can't dial it too far into the business side unless you want to completely make a career change and leave that core tech skill behind. So let's talk about options. What does this practically look like to change or to adapt to the changing landscape within the data center? My first recommendation is get involved locally. GS did the keynote in the morning session, and one of the great examples he used was talking about RTO to the business, recovery time objective for disaster recovery. If you are aware that your disaster recovery project or your disaster recovery plan is pretty weak, and the realistic RTO is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to recover the systems in case of a DR, that's a powerful tool to promote a new project for solving a really critical business problem. Take that to your manager, take it to your finance group and say, hey, look, we have this serious problem that we need to solve. Get involved in that project. That's kind of the second bullet. Propose this new project and get involved with it. See that project from start to finish. If you brought up the issue, bring about the solution. Understand what it takes within your organization to get projects approved. Another option is to get formal training. If you're used to kind of the rigor of certifications, there's options on the business side. I like to pick on project management because I have an advanced degree in project management. In the example of project management, PMI has a PMP, project management professional certification that you can achieve, similar to kind of if you're getting your VCP and going from your VCP all the way up to your VCDX. There's stepping stones in that process. So the PMP is the highest level certification, and you can start with lower level certifications. Another option, go to your local university and enroll in the master's certificate program. This isn't a full master's program that takes 2 years. This is usually a program that takes a few months, works really well with working professionals. You meet on the weekends, and it's usually a combination of 2 or 3 classes. So let's say you want to get into contract management or negotiations. They have tracks specifically geared towards those career goals. Another option that we shouldn't dismiss is community college certificates or community college courses. Just like if you needed to get an introductory to a technology or programming language that you're not familiar with, junior colleges offer a really great path to that 100, 200 level course that will get you eased into that new business role that you're looking to do. Another option, plain and simple, you can just switch your jobs. Become a sales or pre-sales engineer with a vendor or VAR. That will get you an awful lot of exposure to business problems that you might not experience with your current role. really, you know what? I have to warn you, it's a tough role if you've never done pre-sales or sales before, and you carry a quota. It's a much different stress than what you would have if you were in operations. So tread lightly on that career path. And then lastly, you can take the route that I took. I had a combination of formal training, and then I moved over into management consulting. You don't have to necessarily move all the way into management consulting. I think that is a bit of a drastic career change for most of us IT professionals, but you can most definitely work with a technology consultant. There's plenty of boutique organizations or consulting practices that don't require the heavy travel that management consulting roles require. So let's recap. Things are changing. The industry is changing. We're having huge shifts, but we shouldn't be scared of these shifts. We have a path. Obtaining business skill will make you highly desirable to your current employer and also to future employers. Most importantly, you need to go out and do something, whether it's switching jobs, getting formal training, proposing new projects at work, something that's a little bit different than your day-to-day job, whether it's just spending a day every month or every 2 weeks shadowing someone in another department, understanding the business and what it does and how you can use IT to improve your organization. Well, that's it for this video. It was much shortened. I really appreciated the guys at the Cincinnati VMUG. I had a great time. Special shout out to Mark May, who reached out to contact me. I really would not have had this content put together if it wasn't for his invite. If you haven't been to a VMUG or you're not part of your local VMUG, I highly suggest that you get involved. Join VMUG, look into VMUG Advantage. Those guys do a really, really great job of putting together these conferences and really helping you to develop your technical and non-technical skills. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys next time.